Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. I am your host, Brett McCollum, and I'm here today with Peter Skobic. And today we're going to be talking about the evolution of real estate investing. Guys, before we get into it, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs to 5X their businesses, to allow them to build the businesses they've always wanted and allow them to live the lives they've always dreamed of. Without further ado, Peter, how are you, man?
Brett, happy to be here. Doing
Dude,
great.
I am tremendously excited. Got to know you a little bit pre-show. Get to know some of your history, some of your background, where you're going, that sort of thing. And guys, I say this a lot. I'm not even sorry. You guys are in for a treat on the show. Peter's wonderful, and really looking forward to talking with you, man.
All right, same here. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Before we get too far into the weeds on talking everything, give us some background. Like, who are you? How'd you start? Like, give us some history, man. Who's Peter Skobic?
Yeah, well, I came from Zagreb, Croatia originally. So former Yugoslavia. I came to the U.S. in 2000 and kind of had the dream that thousands had before me, coming to the U.S. and trying to build something. So I went to my undergraduate degree in the U.S., my master's degree, MBA with a focus on finance. I really thought I was going to do something in finance, and ended up, funny enough, in the grocery industry. For 15 years, I was a director of purchasing for a national grocery chain. And it's funny because that kind of ended up propelling me into my real estate career, even though it's completely unrelated, but it provided kind of the backing for what got me into real estate eventually.
Wow. So, man, that's interesting. 15 years though, huh? Like, when you were doing that at the time, did you ever, obviously it was a 15-year career. So at some point, you're in the middle of that. Let's say it's year 8.
Mm-hmm.
Was that career path, the corporate path, like the path that you thought it was going to be forever? Like, or were you always thinking, this is a means to an end?
It was, initially, I think when I first started, yes, it was supposed to be my career. I was supposed to retire in it, and that was what I was dreaming of. But then by the time because I started as a district manager, and by the time that I became a director of purchasing, I already knew in my head that this was not going to be a permanent thing for me. It's going to be a few years. It's going to be a means to an end. And really, I remember one time I was with my colleagues at lunch, and just a few, directors sitting at a table talking about different things. And somebody mentioned promotions to vice president. And that was kind of the dream that everybody had, to be promoted to a vice president. And I remember saying at lunch, I said, I don't really have a goal of being a vice president. And everybody at the table laughed, and it took me a couple of seconds to figure out why they're laughing, and it was because they couldn't just conceive of the fact that somebody wouldn't want to be a vice president. And in my mind, what it meant was, instead of on Monday morning, waking up, shower, shave, put on a suit and go to work, I would once again shower, shave, put on a suit and go to work. Except now my limitation on how much I can make would be a little bit increased by whoever my boss is.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And I just did not find that attractive. Not because I don't like working, but because I just didn't like working on building someone else's company as opposed to mine.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, and that's I think a lot of us that came out of the corporate sector, you may have been taught that your whole life. Like that's kind of what the school system today does. It teaches you how to become an employee,
Yep.
and what do you think it was that maybe opened your eyes into, because I mean, it's kind of like the Matrix, right? Like where you can't see it until you see it. What was it that opened your eyes at that point? Like, is there any one thing you can point back to, or is it several things?
Yeah, I mean, there just was no time that was downtime. I'd be at work for, 10 hours a day or something. I would come home, but there was really no downtime because I was always thinking about it. There was always something that could go wrong, and stores were open for very long hours. And the most stressful times were around the holidays because you had to kind of
bet.
prepare for Christmas and Thanksgiving, all these different holidays. And again, look, great company, great people I work with. The problem was I just did not want to miss that time with my family. I wanted to be
Yeah.
able to have more flexibility in what I can do in my downtime. I wanted to be able to enjoy, if I take a vacation, I wanted to be able to have it off my mind. And most of all, if I make a mistake, I don't want to have to explain it to someone. It's my mistake. I just go, hey, all right, learn from it, moving on.
Yeah. And so you mentioned family, married, kids.
Yeah, I'm married. I have a wife and I have one daughter who's 5 years old.
Oh man, I'll be honest with you, that's my favorite age. Five, like that's
I
I
just
have
want to keep her at 5. Yeah.
my daughter just turned 6 last week.
Mhm.
And it's my favorite age, man. They're just right now anyway, she loves her daddy and loves to hang out and get, that's like, you can be having in the entrepreneurial world, really high highs, really lows. If you're having a bad day and your daughter comes up to you and just cuddles right on, like it doesn't
Yeah.
matter anymore. Like that's the best.
Oh, it's
Uh,
everything. And today's Friday. After we're done recording this, I'm taking her to the pool. I don't have to worry about a W-2. So that's everything.
yeah. Well, man, you mentioned too, and you didn't tell me this pre-show, Peter. You're an immigrant.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that is so it's 2000. How old were you when you came to the States?
I was 17 when I came,
Okay.
and yeah, I mean, it
Was
was
that scary? Because I mean, what was that like?
well in Croatia in the early 1990s. We went through a war, and
Hmm.
so it was a dream for a long time to come to the U.S. and build something. So for me, it was everything. I did not look back. I mean, I wanted to do it more than anything. So a little bit scary, but I was more scared of, I guess, staying behind and not getting that opportunity.
Yeah, I think I know where you're going to go with this one, but I did want to ask this question. So a lot of people that I know, entrepreneurs, and in general in life that are immigrants, um, that are successful. Let's say that. What do you think that drive is? Because I think there's like 1-to-1, immigrants to American-born, citizens. Um, I think there's an extra drive from
Yeah.
that I've noticed anyway. Do you identify with that at all, or am I? What are your thoughts there?
Statistically, 4 times more likely to become a millionaire which I found very interesting. And I think it just has to do with
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Where you come from, how hard it was to succeed in that place. It has to do with just hardship, I think, and then being in a situation where you can just put in a lot of work and get whatever you want. That's really amazing. And look, 170 countries have freedom, but when it comes to business, just the ease of doing business and succeeding, that part I feel like United States is uniquely positioned for.
Man, I haven't really ever gotten to ask that question on a show yet. And it's something I've thought considerably about, of like, why in the world, if me personally, I've grown up in the United States, I've lived here my whole life. And, I see immigrants, it's like, I almost wonder, is it a level of, not to like boast in some sort of negative way, but like positively boast, like, the United States objectively it's the great, we can say it's the greatest country because of opportunity. Do you think it's that, maybe it's that level of gratefulness of like, I'm here now and I want to prove that in some way, like that I'm great, like, or is it more just like you said, you mentioned hardship also, or is it a combination? Like,
Yeah, it's a combination of things. I mean, when you grow up here, you kind of take some things for granted, right?
absolutely.
When you come from outside and you realize, wait a minute, if I do this, then I can do that, and if I put in this much work, then I can get this, and
Yeah.
that it becomes very exciting, and it's kind of the motivating factor. And for a lot of us, sending money back home is also a motivating
Yeah.
factor. So I feel like that did contribute to it a lot. There's,
That's
on the flip side, for another podcast, but it comes at a cost as well. I feel like there's a trade-off between lifestyle and making
sure.
money.
Yeah. I mean, that's super. Yeah. That would be for another time. But yeah, I'm sure that would be a great conversation too. Kind of moving a little bit forward here. So you told me a little bit pre-show, before, as you're kind of on this journey of getting towards real estate, you had some travel time, and an RV. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So I put 15 years into a corporate job, like I mentioned, and in January of 2021, I ended up leaving that job and decided to focus 100% on real estate. A few years prior to that, I started buying some rentals in Georgia and
Okay.
started with one house in 2015, bought another house a couple of months later, and then bought some three more houses and a few duplexes over the years, and decided to just leave my job in January of 2021. Now, to be clear, my rentals were not enough at that point to sustain our lifestyle, so I decided to get into wholesaling. We did buy an RV around that time. We realized that our daughter was a year and a half old. It was the last chance that we had to kind of travel freely before she starts going to school. And so we did spend several months driving around the country. We left California and drove through all the different states to come down to Texas, and then from Texas all the way up to New York, as we decided to end up living in upstate New York because my wife had family up here. We wanted our daughter to have grandparents, so we came up to upstate New York. And that's where I got into wholesaling and managed to get some deals under contract. I did a lot of cold calling at the time. And after I got my first deal under contract, I was just unable to find a buyer. I knew it was a great deal. So that's how I got into flipping.
Wow. It's almost, I mean, not in a like, it was almost like a backwards journey, right? Like, kind of, because you see like a lot of people wholesale and then they flip for a minute and then they're like, oh, and then I'll buy and hold, like that's kind of the typical evolution almost um, what, so you mentioned, so you started buying these rental properties. Okay, in Georgia. Actually, I mean, you've got a number of, doors pretty quickly in hindsight. Like when you look at it, it's like, wow, that was pretty cool.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
What had you focus instead of buying more rentals and say, all right, let's wholesale? What was that like? What kind of happened there? Was it more active cash flow? Was it more active
Yeah.
cash that you're like, yeah,
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's a good point that you made. I did build up a portfolio of properties over the years, and I've listened to enough podcasts to know that I get annoyed if I'm listening to a podcast and somebody says, yeah, so I just bought 40 houses and now I quit my job and everything's great. And I always think about, okay, did you win the lottery? Like, how did this happen?
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
understand what happened there. So
That's not real life. Yeah,
So for me, the beginning was one, I did work in corporate America for 15 years, so I was able to save up some money there. But the real catalyst was we bought a house, we bought a place in California, had it for a few years, it appreciated a little bit, so we ended up getting a home equity line of credit, a HELOC. It's a great tool, very low rates, and you use it when you want to. And we bought our first few properties with that.
okay.
To be clear, in 2015, 16, I mean, the prices were not where they are today around Atlanta, Georgia. So that was kind of an easy way to build up a few doors. And then over the years, every time we had any extra money for a down payment, we'd buy more.
That's perfect. Yeah,
And then when we got into when I left my corporate job, we didn't really have a choice. We kind of had to find sources of income that were more immediate than just a couple $100 per door that our rentals were bringing in.
right.
So wholesaling seemed like the path to go. I did buy a course on it. I went through a course and learned a lot. I'm glad that I did that. And like I said, started doing deals, and I was kind of a failed wholesaler. That's how I got into flipping, because I realized the deals were good. I just wasn't able to convince local investors that they are good deals.
Right.
And after estimating all the rehabs and looking at the ARV, I realized I can flip these properties easily. And that's how I got into it. I flipped the first one by myself, me and my wife. And then the second one I did with our current business partner, and we kind of kept going with those. We've completed about 30 so far.
Wow. Good for you, man. That was approximately, when did you start the first flip?
That would have been late 2021.
Yeah, that's incredible. Like that's that's the resilience that, of like, that's why I said at the top of the show, like evolution of real estate investing, because I don't know, have you ever heard of a book called Who Moved My Cheese?
I read it twice, yes.
It reminds me of that, right? Where it's like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing this. This isn't like, well, that the cheese is not here. Now it's here, and you're, but like, it takes a resilience to not get discouraged in the fact that, like, what, I can't keep, for the moment, I can't keep buying these rental properties because I'm like, I got to have active cash. I need income to be able to buy for the down payment. Well, now I've done the wholesale thing. I got the course. I've taken the course. I feel good about it. I got a deal under contract. Oh my gosh, I'm doing it. And buyers don't like, and then it's easy to really just get discouraged by that. But instead, you kept pivoting and move in transit, and now like 30 flips later, it's like, it's a remarkable testament to resilience and not just, cashing it in at the end, like, I'm done, like, I'm done.
I think
That's
a
pretty
big
cool.
part of it is not thinking about 15 steps ahead. Like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? You have to think about just what is the next step, right?
Right.
Because if I worry about 20 steps ahead, I'll never end up doing anything. I'll end up in that paralysis by analysis, right? And so, funny story about that. A few years back, I had a friend in California, and we were looking for some real estate out of state. And
Okay.
we found a pack of 5 duplexes that were for sale south of Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
And they were listed at 475,000 for 5 duplexes. The deal was good. The rents were good. It made sense. The only issue was they wanted cash or nothing.
Mm.
So there was you couldn't use a lender. It had to be a cash transaction.
Was it a wholesaler selling it?
No, it was listed by a real estate agent, but they were just not allowing,
Okay.
the seller did not want anyone to use a loan. And so I talked to my buddy, and we got together. We looked at a deal, we did all the math, and we said, okay, it really makes sense. It's 475,000. We don't have 475,000 cash. How are we going to tackle this? So, we got together, we ran some numbers, all the money out of my checking account, all the money out of his checking account, my savings, his savings. We put all of it together, and we were missing 425,000. And
Yeah.
so, we had about 50K, between the two of us. And so we just didn't let that, bring us down. We made a lot of phone calls, talked to a lot of people, got some private investors, covered the rest of it, bought the deal. And then we just kind of split it up. He kept 2 of them. I kept the other 2. We ended up doing a refinance, and we ended up getting a loan on it and got the money back, paid back the investor, and we still have our duplexes.
Wow. How long until you paid back the investors? How long
It was
that
pretty
for?
quick. We were able to do a delayed financing on it, basically. So
Mhm.
buy cash, do a delayed finance, cash out refi. We split him up so that he keeps 2, I keep 3, and we paid him back within, I would say, probably 3 months or something.
Wow, that's very quick. Good for
Mhm.
you. Man, and do you still own those properties today?
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting to see what happened with appreciation and what happened with rents in the meantime.
Bet you seem like I was a genius.
It's- That's the beauty about real estate. Over the years, I started a little meetup in California, and it was called Club 500 Wealth Network.
Mhm.
And we started in our living room. There was 11 folks at the first meetup, and then we started getting 20 and 30, and then we couldn't do it at our place anymore. So we got a local office where we were meeting. We started getting 40, 50, 60 people show up to the meetups, and then COVID came. So we had to go online. And that's where, we started the group, Real Estate Investing, Flipping, and Wholesaling group on Facebook. And we have 42,000 members now. But
Amazing.
for that group, I used to teach different principles in real estate. And at one point, we were talking about, the fact that most investors, when they buy rentals, they focus on cash flow, right?
Mhm.
And that's the only metric that they use when they're buying rentals. But there's really 6 different ways that real estate pays you. And I started talking about a term. I come up with an acronym, ADDICT, like I'm addicted to real estate, like addict. And the acronym was appreciation,
Mhm.
depreciation, debt pay down, inflation hedge, cash flow, and tax deferral. Is the 6 different ways that real estate pays you, right? Addict. And that's really what it's all about. I mean, that's why we invest. You buy a few rentals, you're getting a couple $100 a month from a rental, and it seems like, sometimes it seems like when the expenses come up, when you have turnover, it might wipe out your cash flow. But keeping in mind, there's 6 different ways real estate pays you, and several years later, you always end up looking like a genius, even if the deal wasn't
Yeah.
that great to begin
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, that's really cool. Y- Kind of a little moving on from the flip side of things, you mentioned that you started transitioning and doing a little more on the lending side now, even. Is
Yeah.
that correct?
Yeah, I wanted to really round out my real estate investing experience. We still have rentals. We flip houses. We work on 6 projects at a time right now. But we used hard money lenders a lot in our business over the years, and there were some aspects of the lending industry I wasn't really impressed with. I didn't like how opaque it was, how hard it was to tell, like, why something's approved, why it's not, why it's this rate or that rate. And I got into it because I wanted to become a lender and learn everything I possibly could. I really enjoy it. I do it now. I help investors buy fix and flips. I provide fix and flip hard money loans, as well as DSCR loans on rental properties, bridge loans, cash out refinances, all of that.
Incredible. Yeah, man, that's super remarkable. Like just again, back to the you're just evolving and growing and evolving and growing, and that's it's a really powerful like tool to have in your back pocket. It's like, hey, I can navigate with the market. I can do, because I've proven it over the years, and it's really cool to see you doing that.
I think
Um,
it helps with lending clients. It really helps to have a lender who actually does what you do
that
and
is really
kind of
powerful. Yeah.
understands what you're looking for and comes up with creative ways
Well,
to make
and
it happen.
two, like, especially in the last couple of years, there's been a lot of unique challenges in the market, right, for flippers,
Right.
and such, and having an operator that understands that, on your of your side of it really helps on some on the empathy for sure, but also on the, hey, I am one too, and I can talk high enough level with you to like try this, don't do this. You can work with these people, and I'm sure the level of customer service that you can offer now. Um, to your target clientele is, second. Oh, I just getting to know you the little bit that I have. It's probably second to none. Um, is that kind of right now, like today, more of your main focus is the lending? Are you still flipping? Like, what does today look like?
So it's between lending and flipping. I would say that they're 50-50 at this point.
Okay.
Like I said, with flipping, I mean, it's a good operation. We have six flips on average that we're working on.
Hmm.
So the way that splits out is typically we have two that are already on the market that are finished, that are ready to sell. We have another two that we are currently working on because we have two contractor crews. And then we have two that are in a pipeline under contract, ready to be bought or are already bought and just waiting to be rehabbed next. We try to keep our contractors busy. It took years and years of trial and error to get to
Sure.
the couple of teams that we have today. We're very happy with them, so we try to keep them busy as much as possible. Any times if we miss one, if we the deal falls apart for whatever reason and we don't have a house lined up for them, they finish my attic in the house or do some changes to my own house or whatever it takes to keep them busy.
Absolutely. And your rentals you mentioned were more in the Georgia market. What about flips? Are they also there? Or are they somewhere else?
Yeah, so rentals, I have all of my rentals in Georgia currently. We also had 6 units in Indiana and a couple in Pennsylvania and several in New York State. Over the years, we ended up selling those off because there was appreciation in the actual properties, but the rents were, for some reason, kind of depressed. So we ended up selling those off and kind of flipping them in a way. All of our flipping activity is in and around Watertown, New York, upstate New
Okay.
York. Mhm.
Keeps you pretty local. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
it's really nice because this area, when we moved here, we realized that most of the houses were built in the late 1800s, early 1900s, kind of a flipper's, dream. And so most houses do need to be rehabbed here. And there's a big military base that kind of brings a constant flow of
Yeah.
people moving in and out.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, we talked to that pre-show. I've got some family up there, which is, and it's
What are the chances?
I know, right? It's like, oh, I guess you don't, yeah, it was cool. But yeah, I mean, that area for in and around military bases, there's a lot of opportunity with that. And, if you can keep it active, that's really great. Um, Question, if people, because I mean, this has been phenomenal. Like you've got a wealth of knowledge to give across various disciplines in real estate. Um, what's the best way for people if they were to want to connect in some way, ask some questions, like just follow along the journey with you? Like, what's the best way for that to happen?
Sure, yeah. So my email address is info, that's info, so info at club500.us. My website is www.club500, so club500loans.com. There you can get loans for, get quotes for loans for fix and flips, rentals, refinances, whatever it may be. I've got a 2-minute intake form there. And club500.us is the link to our Facebook page for Club 500 Wealth Network. And alternatively, Real Estate Investing, Flipping, and Wholesaling Group on Facebook, again, 42,000 members. So it's a great way to kind of talk to fellow investors, ask questions, get them answered. We've got a lot of experienced folks there who provide some great answers.
Dude, no shortage of opportunities for people to reach out to you. And guys, I encourage you to do that. Like Facebook, between the Facebook group and the Club 500 links, reach out to Peter in some way, guys. He's got a lot to offer, and you're definitely like a leader in our space, and an absolute, you crush, man. It's been like really great to talk with you.
Yeah, hit me up. Love talking real estate as always.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's been a great show. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to listen. Peter, again, thank you for being here with us. Guys, take care until the next show. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.